Hi guys, and welcome back to Max Electronics. In today's video I will be attempting to repair a speaker, and this is going to be very interesting. I've never done this before. I thought of recoiling it, and as you can see the speaker is completely stuck. You have to literally push it and force it to get it to move at least a little bit. It's completely stuck in. The reason for doing this, a friend of mine's got a set of speakers which are Wharfedale, and it's Cambridge, England, model 17, that's a speaker model. And he really likes those speakers and he wants them for Christmas, anyway, to fix by Christmas. So the speaker's blown. Then we thought of buying another replacement, and you know, they're not that expensive, they're around $50 US, but you cannot get them, just out of stock everywhere. So another possibility, we thought of just getting a speaker and replacing it, but the problem is we're having that those edges are cut, so it will not fit into the rounded, into the proper rounded speaker, won't fit into the cut out for this speaker. So the only way to go to recoil it, and usually you would buy a recoil kit which comes with a coil, it comes with a center cap, with a spider. The spider is that little thing down there, we will see it in a second, and the new cone piece, so pretty much the whole speaker except the metal and a magnet. That's not an option for this one either. So we have to carefully remove this and remove everything, get the coil out. In some cases you may be able to fix the coil, but this one, I will show you in a second, it is destroyed completely. So I'm going to get everything ready and then we'll see what happens. First I'm going to start by pouring alcohol, and I've got two things. I've got my favorite lacquer thinner and just a normal IPA 100%, which is, there it is here. So I'm going to start pouring it in the gap here. This is a rubber. And I'm just going to carefully just start pouring it all over so it softens the glue. And while it's soaking in, I'm going to see what I've got. I did have to buy the replacement coil for it. The reason is because this one is completely destroyed. I thought of rewinding it, and then I thought, okay, this is going to take hours doing it by hand, and the quality is not going to be as good. So I bought, where is it, the coil here. I've measured the size at the bottom there. I believe it's 26.5 millimeters, the diameter. You've got to make sure that you have the right resistance. So if this speaker was 6 ohms, you've got to get 6 ohms, and also get the measurement of the whole coil, of the whole assembly, which was I think 30. Then the coil was 10 or 35, and the diameter of the tube. And this one's metallized, as you can see. You can get just the paper ones, but we're not doing that. You will also need IPA alcohol, probably some of that lacquer thinner just to loosen the glue if that doesn't work. We'll need a piece of paper about that size. I will show you why. We will need a premium body sealant. That's what I'm using. This is just a polyurethane. It's rubbery, it's solid, it's good stuff. They use it to seal headlights in the car. We will need tweezer screwdrivers, pieces of wood, and super glue as well. I think that's all we need for now. Alright, let's grab a flat screwdriver and start seeing if we can get that glue off. So I'm going to start picking on the side there, and we'll try to see if we can get in first without breaking the rubber. Alcohol should be soaking in there. And let's switch the tool. Maybe we'll try the dentist kit, see if that will work better. Yeah, there we go. So now we're through, and let's try just trying to roll it through carefully and slowly. As we're doing this, the alcohol is still going to be seeping in underneath. I hope it's not going to re-glue it. We're going to go around the whole perimeter. This trick probably won't work with the paper speaker because it's just going to tear it. So for the paper speakers, you'd probably need to buy a new cone piece. which will be the whole kit. And I believe the kit comes with sealant and all of that stuff. It doesn't come with alcohol though, so you'd have to rip it out and just destroy the speaker completely, pretty much just grab it and rip the whole thing out. And then clean off all the glue. So it's getting a bit harder here. Let's go opposite direction. And there we go. So we unglued the perimeter of it, as you can see, all over. Now we're going to flip it over, and you see those little wires there? We're going to desolder them from their terminals. So to do that, I'm going to use tweezers and a soldering iron with a bit of flux. And use the tweezers because those wires will get hot. So if you're using your fingers, you're going to burn yourself. So we're going to hit that up and pull it out, just like that. And do the second one. There we go. So the cone is desoldered from the terminals right here. Now that's a spider right here, that brown thing. And what we need to do, we need to disconnect the spider from the cone piece and that little tube in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the speaker out as far as I can. So the spider is tensed, as you can see, like that. And then I'm going to flip the speaker, and using my fingers, bit by bit, you can start seeing the coil in there. And you can see where it's destroyed too. Look at that. That coil is definitely screwed up. I'm going to put my fingers in and start slightly trying to break the glue, maybe add some alcohol, and push the spider downwards right on the edge there. So if you're looking at the angle, I'm going to push it right there. Actually, you can hear it breaking right now. They're using a super glue here, so just bit by bit. You don't want to push too much pressure and tear it. You just want to slightly, you can see it's actually happening right now. Right there. And just slowly go around and unglue that spider. It's actually doing well without alcohol. Yep, you can see where it happens right here. And the spider is intact, it's not damaged. So again, pulling the speaker out and just carefully working our way through. And there we go. So that's now free. And what we're going to do is carefully pull that out. Let's check out the coil. So here's our spider. And that's not damaged. You can see it's nice and round. Just make sure that there is no glue lumps. If there is, we've got to remove them. Nothing sharp. That looks pretty good to me. So we'll put this side of the speaker aside, and let's have a look at this coil. It is destroyed. I don't know what they did with it, but that's definitely gone. That's completely destroyed. So next step we're going to do is pull those out slowly, and you can see the seals right here, and we're going to just, well, they're cracking, they dried up. And once you get to the thin wire, you can just break that off, and we'll clean it with the soldering iron. Just to get the flux off, or to get the old solder off. Hit that up, and we'll pull that wire off. There we go. That's it. So we'll clean that bit, and we'll do exactly the same with the second wire. So I'll do that, and I will be right back. Both wires have been removed, so now I'm going to use a screwdriver, and since that's really dry, I'm going to carefully break all this away. Might use a little bit of alcohol, and soak the cone as well. Just so it softens up. And then start breaking all this away to clean that off. You don't want to puncture the speaker, you just want to do it nice and slowly. And with the help of solvents and alcohol, it should come off very well. So I'm going to do that for a while, and we'll come back and continue on with removing the coil itself. I've cleaned those as best as I could, and they turned out to be pretty good. You still can see the marks where they were, but and the wires are sticking out, but that's fine. So we're going to remove that coil first. That is a bit of a nuisance here. I'm not sure how someone could have damaged the speaker that badly. So I'm going to cut that here in the seam. And see how I've cut that here. We're just going to get rid of this and push it towards the center and let it unglue itself. There we go. So we've removed the coil now, and that's what's left of it. Now we're going to grab pliers, and we're going to crack all that super glue. Now because it's a super glue, it shouldn't be difficult. You can hear it cracking. And just push slightly towards the center. That should be soft, and you'll feel that it's getting quite soft. And once it does, we can just fold it over like this and try to pick it off. There we go. So you can see the cone is coming out very clean. There we go. So we've removed all the outside glue, as you can see, without tearing anything. The cone looks to be nice, but you can still see a layer of glue on the inside. Look at that cone piece on the way. So what I'm going to do, I've tried just before with alcohol, and that glue is not coming off. So I'm going to try and use a bit of lacquer thinner. I'm going to pour a little bit on the inside and let it soak into that joint and soften everything so we can pull that cone out. So I'm soaking the inside, and I'm going to try to put my finger in and push that out to unglue it. Once we unglue that, we can clear this glue. So I'm going to leave it for a couple of minutes to settle, and then we'll try to push that cone piece out. So that's been there for a while, and I'm pressing on it, but it looks like the plastic itself is softened but not the glue. So I'm going to have to try to use some help, maybe like this hook, and I'll hook it from the inside out and see if I can carefully get the hook through and maybe unglue it this way. I don't know if you can see where the hook is. It's right here, right there. There we go, it's gone through. So now I've just got to have to go carefully all around the perimeter and see if I can unglue it. The problem is that we're keeping it as static, so worst case scenario I can use that black tar to seal off all the imperfections. But the glue is proven to be very difficult. Okay, you're going to give me some time and I'll carefully try to pull it off, and we'll show you once that cone piece is off, the cap. Okay, so I finally removed it. It's not perfect, as you can see, but it's okay because I'm going to cover it with that black polyurethane, the edges, when I glue it back on. So the cone itself is fine, it's just the edges that are a bit funny. That glue was a nightmare. It's still sticky. I don't know what they used, but that was a nightmare to remove. So anyway, that's our cone piece. It's nice and clean. So let's start installing the speaker together. Now we've got everything apart, we'll take the speaker itself and we're going to get our cone. I've got this piece of paper, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it just like that, tighten it, and put it through our new cone piece, like this. And then I'm going to insert it, minding where the wires are to make sure they're facing the terminals. I'm going to carefully, because it's going to be very tight through that spider, insert it in, and look at the angle, make sure the paper gets in there properly. I'm going to put the paper all the way in, and the cone, we're going to make sure that the cone is slightly out by maybe 2 millimeters. So I'm going to turn that all together. To make sure it's all centered. Then we'll move the spider. That's a bit too low. Make sure that the spider is not pushed in or out because it is quite tight. You can simply just tap a little bit around the edges of the spider right here, just slightly to make sure it's aligned, and we've got probably 3 millimeters sticking out. So our cone is in, and we'll just wobble it around as well to make sure it's sitting correctly. That's it. So if you look inside there, you should be able just to see, let me get a torch. If you look down there, you should be able just to see the beginning of the coil right there. It's hard to see, but it's just the beginning of the coil, just near the magnet. And that's how far it's sticking out from the spider. So once that's in, and that should be centered, we're going to use a super glue, and we're going to go around and make sure you don't add any on the paper, just where the spider meets the coil. Just start adding it all around the perimeter. That's it. So we're going to let that super glue set, and once it's set, we're going to start adding the cone piece itself. So I will be back in about 20 minutes. Okay, so 20 minutes has passed, and now it's time to add the little wires to it. So it doesn't matter which hand. So what I'm going to do is grab the tweezers, and I'm going to, around maybe 10 millimeters away from the speaker, I'm going to wrap this wire a couple of turns around that terminal here, well, around that thing, and then solder it. Leave the tail because you can remove it later. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with the other one. Alright, now we're going to clip the ends that are sticking out. and we're going to guide them down here for now. Do not solder them to the board, just guide them out. Now we're going to remove our piece of paper. So to do that, it's there firmly. Just gently pull it up. You'll notice the whole spider will lift up. And from the inside, try turning it. It takes a little bit of time, but there we go. The paper is out. So we've got a new cone in there. Now, if you press it lightly, it's floating freely. Some people make mistake probably if you push it on the side. Let's see in the center. See how it's centered? If I'm pushing on the side, you can see that side is touching now. You don't want that, but if you press it equally and just slightly, it goes in without any problem, and it doesn't touch anything. It's absolutely fine. So now we're going to add our top cone piece, and I prefer to put it the way it was so you can still see those slight marks from previous glued wires. So I'm going to face them this way, the way they were, and attach it back. So this time we're going to make sure that this center piece just goes over the cone piece. You may need some help if it doesn't go over by itself, so use a screwdriver or something and just lightly place it. Make sure it goes over the top of that coil core. Okay, so now that that's in, we're going to use the super glue and go around the perimeter, but you have to be very careful. Make sure you don't drop the glue on the inside of this and it runs down, because otherwise you're going to glue it all together and then it's going to be destroyed. So I'm going to carefully start dropping the glue on the outside. And that's it. So now we're going to leave that to dry for another 20 minutes until the cone. We're not gluing the top just yet, just the bottom, and we'll give it another 20 minutes to dry, and then we'll see if it's all good there. So far so good. Okay, I'll be back in 20 minutes. I've got some polyurethane right here that we're going to be using to seal the speaker around. So a piece of wood that I've just cut. I'm going to dip a little bit, and then we'll lift the side of the speaker, and just going around we're going to add polyurethane to the sides all the way around. Now that that's done, we're going to press it in. Bear in mind that polyurethane dries pretty quickly, so we need to seal that. And after we seal it, we have to do a few more things with the polyurethane. So we'll just run that around. If you do get stuff on your speaker, like there's a spot right here, that's okay. It's easily cleaned up with isopropyl alcohol while it's fresh. So I'm going to press it in firmly. Make sure it's sitting there well. And now I'm going to use some alcohol and clean up the polyurethane that is spilled on the outside. So I'm going to use a paper towel and just rub it around. And as you can see, it removes it very nicely. There we go. So that's sealed. Now we're going to add polyurethane to the center and glue that piece back in. I also want to touch a little bit on the cone piece to make sure that it's sealed properly. That's good. Now I'm going to clean it off from the inside. That's good. And now I'm going to apply it to the cone piece itself on the outside, or on the inside I mean. Generous amount. So before we glue that in, I'm going to flip the speaker and I'm going to add polyurethane to the contacts near the spider there to make sure that they are sealed stuck. As you can see, one, it's really hard to film in there, but I've sealed one, and now I'm just going to seal the second one. Very hard to capture on camera. I'll see if I can try it. Yeah, so that's sealed now to the speaker itself. Do not solder them yet, leave them stuck with a tape until the polyurethane is cured. So now we're going to add that center cone piece. The speaker is free in there. So I'm going to add a little weight and leave it to set. Glue is now set and we've got the speaker here. It's going freely, there's nothing catching both ways. Very nice. So the next step is to make sure that we solder the terminals back where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to screw that back in. We'll remove the remove the sticky tape, which will come off easily. Screw that back in, and now let's use the tweezers and we'll solder that back as well. Now let's check the polarity to make sure that the polarity is correct. As you know, there's a left is negative and right is positive. So to do that, I usually use a small 3-volt battery, and bear in mind they're still hot, and connect negative to negative and positive to positive, and see if the speaker slightly pops out. Let's see if I can capture that. Now you may not see that, but the speaker is slightly moving this way, which indicates that the polarity is correct, because if we connect it backwards, it's going to suck the speaker in. Yep. Okay, so now it's time to test it. Alright guys, so the speakers have been installed back in their enclosures. Here they are. I am at work. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show you around, but that's the speakers, and excuse the sound quality. I don't have the miking on me or anything, just using a handy cam. So they are installed and they are hooked up to the amp and the testing system. So let's try it out. So it turns out all of them were blown, so those subs were blown and the tweeters were blown as well, so I had to redo all of it. The tweeters, honestly I cheated. I've just replaced the tweeters because they're just standard, but this ones I had to recoil, and it's exactly the same process with those as with those ones that we saw on the desk just before. So I'm going to put some copyright-free music, since I don't want to get a copyright strike, so let's go. So catch me if I fall. Alright, let's put something else on with a different beat. And turn it up.
this is it. So that's it, the video for recoiling the speakers. I hope you enjoyed it. Was a first time experience, but from now on I'm definitely going to be recoiling the speakers. It's a lot easier than it sounds. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon at Max Electronics. I will see you next time. My name is Max. Bye.